morning, everybody. How we doing? Sammy, United People's TV. It's Tuesday. The pain of the weekend is buried. The upcoming pain, well, hopefully not pain. I mean, if there is pain against Coventry, boy, oh boy. Anyway, we'll speak about the game a little bit later in the week. Today, we're going to be focusing on Manchester United transfers, and we're going to be speaking about Shea Lacey signing his first professional contract. The under-18s can win the Premier League title today. And I called it like a transfer special, but I did a video yesterday that quite a few of you enjoyed. So I want to speak about it and speak through it with the community this morning. And also kind of add to it as well. We're going to speak about, who have we got? Martial, Van der Beek, Branthwaite, Nagelsmann, Ten Hag, Chelsea, plenty of other things as well. Who's here from the member gang? Good morning to all of you. T and Alex, you're there from the mods. Paula, you're there too. And I saw you earlier. Carl, you're there as well. Josh, as always, you'll be tuning in. And I'm sure there's others I've missed. Can't see. Natasha, good morning to you. Andrew and Teresa. We've got Liam Griffin, Lisa Jensen, Tuntun. We've got Jordan, Pete K, Chris, and we've got Alan Budge. Who's on Facebook? We've got Mark Fossey and Matt Frost. How you doing, lads? Thomas Hayes. We've got Henry, Giseldo, and we've got one more. Stephen Lawrence. Good morning to all of you. Now, you all know the drill by now. All right. Fire in your comments and your questions throughout the show. I'll try and answer as many as I can. Oh, look at this, by the way. What do you think about this? Woo! Little cheeky design. We've got this like, well, I say we've. Once the merch launches, there's going to be a range which are kind of like these fun streetwear, almost cartoony vibes. And it's going to be a very specific sort of range, if you want to call it that. With the merch, I want to say this now. I know you all must think that I'm lying with how long it's taking. But the reason it's taking so long is because I'm being really, really picky over the quality. And we might even jump to a completely brand new supply now because all the samples I've got, they're not high enough quality for what I'm aiming for. I don't want it to feel like a bit of merch that you get, like a bit of standard YouTube tat. Really thin, doesn't have that nice heavy fashion feel. That's what I'm aiming for, right? The merch is the new software, says Alex. I was speaking to my partner yesterday. I was like, what's giving me more of a headache? Software or the merch? And I think it was probably the software. The software drove me insane. But we're nearly there, right? All the designs are ready. It's just that I need to find the perfect supplier. That's the issue. And I'd rather delay it and wait to get the perfect supplier than launch and then some of you be disappointed in the quality. I think it's worth it in the long term. So just be patient with me. Well, you are being patient with me the whole time. Jordan saying, how's the leg doing? Leg's doing all right. What is it now? We're like 7. I've had this surgery before on my right ankle, right? And the recovery was significantly quicker to this point. I think whatever they've done on this left ankle is definitely more serious. I haven't actually had a chance to speak to the consultant yet. But, yeah, I'm getting there. It's just I'm some way away from weight bearing fully yet. So there's still some... Rehab's going to take about... I don't know. Long ass time. Nicholas, you're just getting old. What's that? That's not a very nice comment this morning. It's completely true. But someone thought I was wearing a World of Warcraft hoodie. I suppose you can't see Garnacho in the middle. I think it's pretty cool. I like this design. This is a cool design. There's also another Garnacho design, which I haven't shown you yet. But right, let's jump into the news from yesterday. Let's jump into a conversation. And I think I want to start with this last night. It's just like, isn't it peak Chelsea? 6-0 though. But that was as childish as it... The photo doesn't really do it justice as to how childish that was. Cole Palmer. The penalty taker. Madueke was like, no, man. It's mine. Nicholas Jackson came, no, shut that. It's mine. Mike, yeah, we will be doing kids sizes. We'll be doing kids and unisex once we all launch. But Cole Palmer, man. Ugh. Manchester United fan. City sold him because they wanted to sign other players and they wanted to balance their books by selling off an academy product. Ridiculous. Hat-trick against us. 4 there against Everton yesterday. Everton, by the way, boy, wow, we were. But you know what that does? Man. For the last... Prior to that week, where we played Brentford, Chelsea and Liverpool, all the conversations were looking upwards, right? All the conversations were looking upwards. We were talking about whether or not United can somehow sneak into the back door of the Champions League. And when you drop 7 points in the space of a week from winning positions, that conversation changes. And now with Chelsea spanking Everton 6-0 yesterday, you can see that they're 3 points behind us with a game in hand. If they win their game in hand, they're above us on goal difference, and we're not going to get above that. There is a real possibility that Manchester United finish like 8th this season. What has our worst Premier League finish been? I don't actually know. And who was it under? Was it Moyes' season? Was it like 6th? Was it 7th? It might have been 7th. I can't actually remember. Well, the gigs had it at the end of the season, didn't it? Yeah. You're all saying it was 7th. Wouldn't surprise me if we match that this season. The way things are looking there, the way Manchester United are playing. And like, this really has been a bad season. And you know what's all the more infuriating about this season, right? Is it's just that week that killed it. As bad as we have been, okay, let's pull this up here. As bad as we have been, and we're in 7th place. Drawing against Brentford, 3-2 up to 4-3 defeat against Chelsea, and then losing in lead against Liverpool. Those 7 points there would have United 3 points behind Spurs in 5th, whose next 4 games, is it? City, I don't know what order it is. It's City. They've got Chelsea as well, I think. City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool. And we're I can't wait for this season to be over. Right? Stephanie's saying it in the comments there. Table doesn't lie. No, it doesn't lie. Whoever finishes the first after 38 games deserve to win the league. There's no, cup runs. Look at Chelsea when they won the Champions League that season. You can have mad cup runs, just like anomalies almost. You can't really have an anomaly winner in the league. It's just not possible. You have to do it over a 38-game period. And it's looking like Manchester United, as it stands right now, we could well match our worst season in the Premier League. Boy, oh boy. To say it's been a bad season is kind of, it's the understatement of the century. Considering the expectations, and I thought, genuinely, I feel like my predictions were reasonable. Optimistic, sure, but reasonable. To think that Manchester United could build on the 3rd place finish last season and finish 2nd. To think that Manchester United could reach the Champions League quarterfinals. I don't remember what my bloody predictions were because they were so wide of the mark. Champions League quarterfinal and 2nd. And it might be group stage and 8th, depending. Aleo saying Leicester City was an anomaly. I suppose technically Leicester was an anomaly because, well, that won't happen again. Can you use the word anomaly? I suppose, yeah, it does. It kind of, yeah, I think you're right there. Could end up 9th, as someone says. Anyway, a little bit more about how much I hate Chelsea. Did you see this over the weekend? Chelsea, of course, their accounts came out. Just everything is just astronomical when it comes to how much Chelsea has spent, how much Chelsea have paid to agents, how much Chelsea have amortized over a 5, 6, 7, 8 year period, and how much they owe. And their finances are not in a good place. And what they did is just peak corruption, peak Chelsea and City. Just, what are the rules? Your job here, right? I'm going to pay you 30 grand a day, whatever these big lawyers and solicitors get. Go and find me a loophole. It's your job. Nothing else on your to-do list apart from find me a loophole that I can exploit. That's what the conversations were. That's what these conversations would have been. And Chelsea sold a 76.5 million hotel to a sister company of Clear Lake Group, whatever it is. Todd Bowley's business. It's called like associated transactions. It's like when Man City was it sponsored by Etihad? And they looked at the links between the two companies. Now, obviously, this is coming under scrutiny now, which it absolutely should. It's ridiculous that things like this are still allowed. I think even if you look at the sponsor that they got on their show, is it Infinity Athlete? I think if you look at the revenue of that company compared to how much they pay for Chelsea sponsorship, you're like, again, that doesn't make sense. Not dodgy at all, says Alex in the comments. As I said, they just pay people to find loopholes, and I just hope it comes down and crashes spectacularly on Chelsea. I really, really do. I think City are going to have enough money to get away with it. And Chelsea probably looks like they're going to have enough money to get away with it. But it's just infuriating if you ask me. All they do is, okay, is that a new set of rules? All right, go on and find me a loophole. That's what rich and powerful people do, right? Because they can. Right. Let's move on to some good news, says Shea. This is some good news. I think so anyway. Well, let's hope so. It's definitely some good news. The under-18s are absolutely storming it in the Premier League North this season, right? And today, they could win the title. Man United are playing Wolves at 1 p.m. If you want to watch it, you can watch it, whatever means, everyone's got a different means. Just watch it on your Fire Stick. Come on, people. But we're playing Wolves at 1 p.m. And if we win, then Manchester United will be crowned under 18s Premier League champions. And remember that in 8 days' time, I think it's the 24th, a bit random if it's midweek. Anyway, on the 24th, I think we play Man City in the under 18s Premier League Cup. And that's at Lee Sports Village, and tickets are free. So if you can, go to that. Fansy, I'm sure the game will be available on MUTV. And it's just interesting. Oh, look at that. A little bit of Shea Lacey there. A little bit of Shea Lacey. Yeah, let's speak about Shea Lacey, man. Let's speak about it. I've done lots of content I've really enjoyed. That I've really enjoyed on the under-18s this season. I still have one series that I really want to do, and I'm really looking forward to doing it. And it's like an interview series with Academy Arena. So really top draw youth coverage on their account, and speaking to him about individuals, Shea Lacey being one of them, Amir Ibrahimov being one of them, Harry Amass being another one. Probably we'd speak about the Fletcher twins as well. And that would be like an interview series. But Shea Lacey is somebody who, well, we haven't really seen much of him this season because he's been injured for around about 6 months. If I'm correct, he made his first appearance back on the bench for the under-18s at the weekend, I think, in 6 months. And he's somebody who has kind of stood out from a technical quality perspective. Watching him dribble at players, watching him skip past players. That's the sort of exciting player that Shea Lacey is. But yesterday he signed his first professional contract with Manchester United, right? So when you turn 17, and he turned 17 on the 14th of April, I believe, you can sign a professional contract. And he signed it with Manchester United. And he's not the only one who's done that recently. If you look at Harry Amass, he's just signed one. You look at Tyler and Jack Fletcher, they both just signed one. In the last couple of months, all these really exciting talents have signed their first professional contract with the club. So if this season was, I'll ask this in the contract. In the contract, I'll ask this in the comments. If last season was Garnacho's breakthrough, this season was Mainu's breakthrough, and hopefully Cambuala can recover from that unfortunate slip, and then he can still play in these next few games and keep establishing himself as a first-team squad player. Who do you think will be next year's breakthrough? Put it in the comments. Brian is saying, do we have to wait another year for Ibrahimov? Well, he's only 16. I actually don't know when his 17th birthday is. Let's have a look. I think, has he not only just turned 16? Ibrahimov. He turned 16 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I thought he'd only just turned 16. So it's fair to say that Ibrahimov, we're going to be waiting for a little while. Let me see what you're saying in the comments here. Dan Gore says, Charlie. Dan Gore's been unfortunate, I believe, with injuries on loan at Port Vale, which is a real shame for him because I personally rated him as a higher prospect overall than Hannibal, but as was the case with James Wilson and so many other youngsters. Oh, who was another one? Will Keane. I remember Will Keane was crushing it that was the year that we last won the FA Youth Cup. This is a long time ago, geez. And he then went away on international duty with England and did his ACL just before he was about to go on the pre-season tour with United. And then Will Keane never really broke through. Injuries can ruin him. Got Fabamo, you're saying Lamas. You're saying Harry Amas. Nicholas, you're saying Lacey or Amas. Forson says someone else. Well, I think he's kind of already broken through. Jack Fletcher, Charlie McNeil. I don't think Charlie McNeil. If you look at the strikers we've now got, and you look at Ethan Wheatley and you look at Gabriel Bianchetti, it kind of feels like the Charlie McNeil ship might have sailed, but maybe I'm being unfair. But quite a few of you feel Amas. There's a couple of shouts there for Scanlon, James Scanlon and Ethan Wheatley as well. I think I would probably go for Harry Amas. I think because of opportunity, pathway, quality, he will definitely, he definitely won't be. I don't know about definites, but I'll be surprised if he wasn't part of the pre-season tour squad. And we actually don't know what the pre-season tour squad is. Erik ten Hag has said that he's not going to sort of split the team up in the same way that he did last season. So he's going to be far more, because that was a criticism of last season. As much as the travel was a problem, it was the fact that we were rotating the starting 11 so much that there was hardly a point where our full starting 11 was playing in the preseason. I think that will change. But congratulations to Shea Lacey. And if you're free at 1 p.m. today, I'd encourage you to watch the under-18s playing Wolves. Hopefully it'll be a nice, exciting win for them to seal the deal. I'm definitely watching it. I encourage you to. Right, let's move on to a couple of conversations around Erik ten Hag, because I spotted this morning from Mike Vivage, who is the main journalist for The Telegraph, which is, do you remember when we first got Erik ten Hag and how much I was butchering his name? It was basically the first point you go to get news on Ajax. And he's suggesting that right now, Ajax's dream candidate to become their coach in the summer is Erik ten Hag. Is still Erik ten Hag. And this is what he said on the podcast here, right? He says, Ten Hag is still the dream candidate, but they're also working on plan B, C, and D. If Ten Hag says no, they want something else. Discussions are now also underway with a foreign candidate. But, I mean, this really shouldn't come as too much of a surprise, considering how successful Erik ten Hag was at Ajax, and just as importantly, how bad Ajax have been since he's left. Now, it's not just because Erik ten Hag left Ajax. That was when the Overmars situation unfolded just before Ten Hag left. And then Van der Sar has stepped away now. I'm not sure whether Van der Sar stepped away just because of his health reasons or whether he stepped away anyway. But Ajax are going to be sniffing around Ten Hag, which I'm not surprised about. And what do you think about options this summer? Like available options. As I said to you yesterday, I think us having a little conversation in these live shows around Erik ten Hag and around managerial options, I think is fair. I think it's fair enough. We're going to have that conversation as a community. I won't be leading with headlines around it just yet. Edgeridge, you're saying he may fancy a return to Ajax. He may well. I think it would be a massive show of a lack of ambition I don't know if that's a harsh way to phrase it, but given that he basically went to Ajax and he goes, well, I've completed it, mate. To then go back to Ajax, of course, to then bring Ajax back out of the shadows again would be impressive. But you got Florian Plettenberg from Sky Sports Germany saying that Nagelsmann is looking likely to go back to Bayern Munich, which again I find like I find that slightly weird. Anybody want to tell me a bit more about this in the comments if you know anything more on this? Because Nagelsmann, as far as I can remember, Bayern Munich were like second. I think they were still in the Champions League. They were like 1.3 points off top. And then Nagelsmann got booted. I think Tuchel went in. And it just, it seemed a bit weird why he was sacked in the first place. I don't particularly think that he should have been sacked in the first place. But reports now suggesting that he is going to be going back to Bayern Munich. So if that does happen, and I've also seen reports this morning linking Thiago Motta with the Juve job. People are saying down there it was about Oliver Kahn and the clash that he had with Oliver Kahn, who's now left the Bayern board. Maybe I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm just curious. But it could well be that Xabi Alonso staying at Bayer Leverkusen, Nagelsmann going to Bayern Munich. No real conversations around the Barcelona manager. Anybody who has actually been linked with the Barca job? I know De Zerbi's been linked, but I don't know whether it's only just been like a name, like it just in a paper somewhere, rather than it being actual concrete links. Who's been linked with the Barca job? I think that the point that I'm raising here is that this is why I expected some form of statement from Manchester United either way. Gareth Southgate to Barcelona. Oh, come on, that'd be great. I mean, that's not going to happen, but that'd be great. Because of how competitive the market was for managers this summer. Barca, Bayern, Liverpool, all looking for new managers in the same summer. It really feels like if maybe Ineos have made this decision behind the scenes and they've already shook hands with Erik ten Hag and made a decision, but nothing's public. Look, De Zerbi was I think it's unfair to label De Zerbi as flavour of the month because he's clearly a very good manager. But Brighton have struggled this season. Brighton are below us in the league. And you've seen how bad we've been. All right? Graham Potter is another name that was linked. Did an incredible job at Brighton. It was never, ever going to work out for Graham Potter at Chelsea. And that's not Captain Hindsight speaking. He just got really poorly advised. If I was a close friend or anything of Graham Potter, I'd be like, mate, do not take that Chelsea job. Seriously. I know it looks like the best option right now, but just keep doing what you were doing and you will get a better job and a better opportunity instead of completely ruining your reputation. But then if you're looking at Erik ten Hag and the concerns and the questions you've got, and then you're looking at Roberto De Zerbi, and you're looking at the questions and concerns that you've got, and you're looking at Graham Potter and the questions and concerns you've got, I'd have pretty damn similar concerns about all of them. Again, let's see how this continues to develop. But apparently, Ajax are interested in bringing Ajax back, and I'm not surprised about that. But I don't know whether he wants to go back. Inzaghi is a name getting thrown around. He's done a very good. Inter are going to win the league this season, aren't they? Let me go down there. I think I've read a couple of super chats out, and I think somebody gifted him. Oh yeah, Steve, thank you very much, dude. I thought I saw your name pop up. Gift him 5 memberships. Does the gong work? Top tier gongage. Top tier gongage. V33 said Erik ten Hag should head back to Erik ten Hag. I'm guessing you mean Ajax. We don't deserve him. The management destroyed his career. The size of the garbage left for him to clean up. He is human. Even Pep can't fix this hot pile of garbage. Erik ten Hag has had to deal with an abundance of chaos at Manchester United. So much. Given quite a lot of the chaos that's happening on the pitch this season, I think is largely in part due to Erik ten Hag's tactical approach. But off the pitch, there's been so much stuff that any club would struggle with, let alone a club that doesn't really truly have a football director. What was John Murtough doing, man? I don't really know. I wonder if or when the Manchester United's ability to finish in the Champions League is mathematically impossible, whether maybe you might get a statement there. I've maintained I've always felt that I've always felt that there would be a statement either way in support of or letting everybody know that Erik ten Hag is going to be going in the summer. But quickly, managerial options are going elsewhere or other clubs are moving. And that's why I thought United, if they were going to pull the trigger, that they would have to pull the trigger sooner rather than later. I'm going to see what you're saying down here in the comments. Any statement will be after the FA Cup final. Isn't the FA Cup final last game of the season? When was the FA Cup final? It normally is. FA Cup round dates. 25th of May, yep. So week after the end of the season. I think 19th of May is when we play Brighton. It was always the FA Cup final was the last game of the season. If we make the final, of course, yeah. If we make the final. We play Coventry on Sunday. Woo! Dan, you're saying keep Erik for one more season. Rather we finish 8th and sort the mess up, top, down. Says V33. There's a lot of mess at this football club. Hansi Flick, people's. There's a ton of names that have been constantly thrown about. Oh, this is the best option. 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 This is the best manager. This is the best manager. Hence why I've never really got into a full conversation about any of them, and nor do I think I should. Either way, behind the scenes, United will be doing that. Sam, man, you think if we fail against Coventry, there could be a decision made because the Champions League is already gone. I think I said this yesterday, and I personally feel that winning the FA Cup doesn't necessarily, from an individual perspective, doesn't save Erik ten Hag's job, and I don't think going out of the FA Cup makes him lose his job. In isolation, I don't think it does anything really. The FA Cup is a bonus to whatever the ambitions were for this season. As it stands, the FA Cup is all we've got left. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful fashion to the FA Cup, but we won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal. All right? What did that change? Nothing. We won the League Cup under Jose. What did that change? Nothing. Won the League Cup under Erik ten Hag, and I hope that was going to be the start of something bigger and better, but, well, it hasn't been so far. Why did they change the FA Cup final kickoff time? Should have left it alone. I have no idea, Paula. That's a whole different conversation. Only reason Van Gaal was sacked despite winning the FA Cup is because Mourinho was knocking on the door. That's one of the most embarrassing moments, I think, for our football club is what happened with Louis van Gaal. Just the whole way that it went down at the end. Louis van Gaal not finding out until after the FA Cup final. Fans walking down Wembley Way hearing that just after winning the FA Cup that Louis van Gaal had been sacked, and some people cheering it and some people cheering in the stadium when they had the idea of it. It was really grim end. It was peak Ed Woodward. Peak Ed Woodward. Anyway. Yeah, that's just a little chat around the Ten Hag stuff that I've seen this morning, all right? Let's move on to the next point. I spoke about this yesterday. I already did the video myself on Sunday. And it's basically case closed, is what I just wanted to say on the Garnacho situation. All right? Garnacho's, call it what you want, just talking to a shakedown. It's just Erik ten Hag has sat and had a conversation with Garnacho. He's apologised and they've moved on. And some people really did want to try and compare it to the Sancho situation. Again, I think some people just love conflict. Some people just enjoy trolling people and seeing their reactions and realizing they can get a nibble out of someone. It's how some people work. And I kind of feel sorry for them, if I'm being completely honest. But Garnacho unliked those posts, and it's exactly what I said. I said if he really felt that, he would have doubled down. He wouldn't have got rid of them. Just like Jadon Sancho really felt so strongly in that statement he released, but he never got rid of it. No, not apologising for that. It's completely true. Hence why it was so completely different. But Garnacho, he'll probably be in the starting 11 against Coventry, as long as he's fit and he's able, and I think he should be. Dean Irvine saying, do you think fan channels should be kept separate from the club or have access like journalists? The thing for me is that, again, in the same way that I think it's unfair to label all newspapers or all journalists as journalists, all right? A journalist who writes for The Sun is not the same as a journalist, in my opinion, who writes for The Athletic or The Telegraph or The Times. And in my opinion, I think the same concept can be applied to fan channels. I do things differently here at United People's TV, and I have done since day one. It is a reason why we are so much smaller. I say smaller. There's nearly 400,000 of us here. Big up to everyone, by the way. That's wicked. We have to do some sort of 400,000 sub-party. Again, I hate that phrase fan channels because it just reminds me of Arsenal Fan TV, and it just reminds me of all the shit they used to do with Ty and all the fan cams. Independent fan-run media, if you want to call it that. I think the reason some people get annoyed when I mention Goldbridge's name. I put so much work and effort and time into United People's TV, right? So when I see all this stuff happening in the United fan base that's directly impacting people's perceptions of fan-run communities, it directly impacts me. And it directly impacts all the work that I am doing, and it pisses me off so much. Because I work to try and do things differently, and I don't go for the low-hanging fruits, and I don't go for the conflict. And other people do. And it will always make me angry. And it'll make me more angry than most of you individually, because you can jump in and jump out. I don't. After this, I'll go and I'll be preparing the lunchtime video. After that, I'll be working for the next hour or two on getting the merch ready. After that, I'll be working on the meta videos. I'll be working on the scripting for this week's one and next week's one. It's full time, and I love it. But that's why I get annoyed when I see other things like that influencing people's and United fans' perceptions on what fan channels are. And again, I hate that phrase, fan channels. Really annoying. Alex is saying, chef can't cook in the kitchen structure if it's a mess. 1 second here. Chef can't cook if kitchen is mess. Utensils don't work and no ingredients available. Give any coach that. I mean, I know what you're trying to get at, Alex, but that is a seriously complicated way of saying the structure behind the scenes. It's an interesting analogy, but the wording is wrong. But yeah, that's why a lot of people have sympathy for a lot of the problems that exist at Manchester United for Erik ten Hag, but also at the same time, and we have to admit on this, like his tactical approach, which he could tweak and he could improve and just make it easier on himself. He hasn't really at any point this season. He's kind of doubled down into the wrong direction. I don't need to read any of the comments out on all of that. That's just my sort of opinion on it all. And I hope at some point that United, back to the original question, do I think that fan channels should get access like journalists? I think they should. I think it's completely unfair to all the work that I've done in here and all the work that we've done together as a community, we've built up a massive United audience. And I should be allowed to, as long as I do it correctly, I should be allowed to get access to players, to speak to coaches, to speak to staff, because I know I do it right. But just like in anything in life, there could be 9 out of 10 people doing things perfectly, brilliantly, in all the right way. If there's one person, if there's a bad egg that ruins it for everyone else, then the access will be removed for everybody. And that's why it's difficult. You either close the door or you open the door. You can't just open the door a little bit. I was saying that I don't really have access to anything, so you can just open the door a little bit. And United, I'll be completely honest, in terms of how I love the club, love United. Their media presence is so bad compared to other clubs in the Premier League. They are never innovative. They are always behind what someone else has done first. MUTV is like watching a relic. So old. And that's why people have turned to fan channels like this. Well, first of all, I haven't got paid for MUTV. Well, United People's TV. People are asking there about speaking to a press officer. I've had access to a couple of the pre-season tours. T, big up you. T got access. T's one of the mods. I gave him access to a couple of the games out in, what was it, Adelaide? Was it Brisbane? Perth? Was it? Sod knows. Australia. We went out in Australia. And if I went to America this summer, I would get access to the pre-season. But truth be told, that would be way too expensive for me. And I'm the one-man band here. So Stretford, Paddock can send Joe and Steve and Jay and all of that all the way across to last preseason in America, and they still have people running their stuff on the day-to-day basis. It's just me. And I'll be honest, it's a bit of a problem with the channel. I need to bring in new faces. I really need I need a co-host for the podcast, or I can't do it anymore. I would definitely get so much more opportunities for stuff on the ground at games, but I don't have anybody who would want to do that. And it is a big problem with the channel, which is about the growth, and it will happen. It will happen. But in terms of getting press accreditation, it's hard. Like I've done kind of a little bit of a tangent here, but it's a nice conversation. I've done my NCTJ course, which is like your national journalism diploma. Done my shorthand, done my law, done whatever else it was, can't remember. Anyway, did that, and you couldn't get a job. The only reason I've worked in local newspapers when I was living in London. I think I was working for Wimbledon Courier, something like that. I was doing crap like going to fire stations and interviewing tea ladies. Man, local newspaper, it is a one-way ticket to boredom. And I tried to get into the press in that way, and it just didn't work. And I made my own stuff. I'll be honest, I made the right decision. But in terms of getting press accreditation for Premier League games, that'll be an ultimate goal for me, I think. To get the press accreditation and to sit there like next to Andy Mitten and stuff like that. And then that's how I can watch games. And I can do my match reaction from the stadium in the press box after. That's what I would like to aim for. Because then I can get to go to more games. Because it's the ultimate irony of what I do. Is the match reaction has to be immediate. So going to games gets in the way of that. And I like getting drunk at games. Well, away games anyway. I'm such a sucker for a sesh. It's bad. It's good, but it's bad. So I have to try and the only way I can make myself behave is by not going. Big up to everyone in the comments, by the way. It's one day we'll get there, but this summer I've got some I'm so excited for this summer. With the team that we've built here at United People's TV, this is the first summer where I'm not going in as like a one-man band. We've got Ronnie, we've got George, we've got Ollie, we've got Parry, we've got Michael, we've got Steve, we've got editors like Tom and Robbie and Steve who'll be coming on as well. See all the names I'm listing off here? These are all just the stuff that's happening now behind the scenes in United People's TV, hence why we're able to do much better content more regularly. So all of your support is helping me fund all of this. So big up to all of you. Drop a like on the video for yourself. Pete saying you should move up north. I was thinking about moving to Manchester at one point. Didn't happen. Fun story. Right. Let's move on to the main part of the show for the last 10. I say main part of the show. It's 40 minutes into it. Well done, Sam. Whiffly waffly. But I did this video yesterday, right? And it wasn't a prediction of what I think is going to happen this summer. It was me looking at the squad and going, right, okay, position by position, what's the strength in depth that we've got? And I rated it out of 10. Go and watch the video if you want to sort of see what I wrote down there. But I want to speak about a couple of players first. When it comes to transfer news, right, just be aware, right? It's already starting, okay? If I was going to, I'm going to start my whiteboard after the end of it. So we've got about a month to go, and then we can whip the whiteboard out and we can start the transfer content. Man United getting linked with, how do you even say his name? Gyökeres? I think he is. Anyway, moved from, who was it he was banging goals in within the Championship? Was it Coventry? I think it was Coventry. Anyway, we're getting linked with him. We are not going to sign him. All right? We are not going to sign him. He's going to go probably to Arsenal or Chelsea. Going to be in the region of 50 to 100 mil. It's way out of our price bracket. Pointless link. Frimpong. Pointless link. We're not going to be signing Frimpong. We are not going to sign. He's going to be 34 million release clause. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be a pointless link. We're not going to sign him. He's a right winger, not a right back, first of all. And in terms of where we have money this summer, like right back is now, it's definitely below left back. It's just below left back, left centre back, right centre back, central midfielder, and striker. Then you look at the right back. So we're going to spend 34. It's pointless. It is a pointless link. I wouldn't be surprised to see United getting linked with Adara Bioyo. There you go. Anyway, Fulham defender. Free transfer. Played, I believe, in Man City's academy team when Jason Wilcox was either the academy director or the under-18s coach. So my point here is to just be aware it's starting. That's the biggest thing that I always try and push, is awareness around being able to call out bullshit. Right? It's just, and this is why I had the whiteboard. The ridiculous whiteboard with so many names on. Now, a name that I have spoken about for a while is Jared Branthwaite. Look at that price tag. Ha. We've got a little mini documentary. Well, I say mini documentary. I don't know what the right way to describe them. Got a video prepared on Jean-Claire Todibo. How good is Todibo? It's going to be like a little short 7 to 8 minute video, which is going to be like a quick fire profile. Strengths, weaknesses, what's the best part of his game, how much is he worth, is he the right signing for United? Boom. Done that on Todibo. That's going to be coming out soon. We're preparing one on Jared Branthwaite as well, and the question is Jared Branthwaite worth, well, they're saying 93 million euros. I don't know what price it would be, but in my opinion, it would be north of 75 mil. Age, Premier League tax, Man United tax. Even though the fact that Everton are struggling for cash, it's going to be north of 75 mil. And you watched last night, he did get cooked by Palmer. Absolutely megged out of his mind. Clearly, a very good centre-back. Is he 75 mil? I think we can all completely agree no. But when it comes to signing players now, you know full well you don't just sign the player for how much they're worth now. Most teams want a slice of the pie of how much he could be worth in X amount of years' time if his potential is fulfilled. So they want a little bit of that up front. It's just weird that it's just weird the way the transfers go. But 93 million euros. Okay. Vicky, I think you asked earlier, Vicky, if the lunchtime video is going to be on Varane leaving. It will not be on Varane leaving. Is he leaving? Is he definitely leaving? I think Varane's leaving. But we'll save that for the end of the season. But you won't get it. You won't get an individual video. And what I wanted to do, right, was I did this in the video yesterday. Let's have a little quick fun thing as a community here. I said, look, if you're going to rebuild Manchester United's squad, okay, I put these sorts of assets down as things that we need to look for, like athletes, physical ability on and off the ball, technical quality with the ball at their feet, attitude, approach and mentality, game management, leadership, and having 2 quality players per position. I wanted to ask you, is there anything else you want me to put on this list that isn't on that list? Because I saw somebody yesterday saying that, which I'm not sure I completely agree with. Versatility? Is that something I'm going to be looking for in our signings? Possibly if I'm looking at an attacker, somebody who can play out wide and somebody who does have the ability to play through the middle. Maybe. Do I want somebody who can play right centre-back or right-back together? Maybe I'm being unfair here. Maybe versatility is something that should be down on that list. Passion, commitment. Kind of comes into attitude, approach, and mentality, right? Shithousery. Is that a thing? Man, I know it's a thing. Just on the job spec. Okay, right. So you're pretty good at long passing, very good tackle percentage. Also, you score highly for shithousery, which is quite important. We like that. In you come. You got the job. Discipline, professional. But that's probably one. I suppose that comes down to. I'll probably put that in its own one actually. Professionalism. It's a lot of letters, that word. Game management, got that down there. Individual game management. We need a new John O'Shea, says Ash. Every team needs a John O'Shea. Consistency. I mean, yes. I personally think it's these 2 main things up here, though. If I'm profiling the right players to come into Manchester United, we need like physical monsters. Not just necessarily, and I'm not saying that we should be playing this transitional NBA style game of football. That's not what I'm saying. But we need athletes. We need players who can cover and eat up 10, 20 yards of space out of possession to cover, to be there, to make sure that they're back, but also have the ability and the energy to go forward at the same time. Technical quality with the ball at their feet. They're not scared of it. It's not hot potato. It's not boot it somewhere as quickly as possible. They have the ability to take a deft touch or 2, to drop a shoulder, sort of thing that Kobe Mainu makes look so good and so natural. They're easily the top 2 for me. And Rafa Vardy kind of comes in there, but I think that's actually a really good one there. Football IQ. Awareness of the game, awareness of the space. It's not necessarily that you permanently have to be scanning, but you have to know about everything around you before you receive the ball. Being a step ahead rather than being a step behind. Buddy saying, can't show us your jumper. I've got a poster of this as well, so I can put the poster on the walls. Garnacho's overhead. Just done in a little, what would you call it? Anime style? I think anime style is probably the right one. Brian, you're saying, who would be your ideal candidates? Now, look, I'm saving all that sort of content for the end of the season. Actually, I think that's a good one. Someone put down there, age. Had to sign players at the right age. It's a good one as well. So, I mean, that's why it's nice to do this sort of live conversation. All of these characteristics and assets, and I think somebody put down there too, mate, do your job properly. Do your job properly, United. Do those background checks. It's like Dan Ashworth. He can't be held responsible for Sandro Tonali hiding a massive gambling addiction. People will try and label that on him. But the Jadon Sancho situation, like the red flags were really not hard to see. It's almost like United looked at the red flags and goes, we're not too worried about that. We can deal with that. Rather than being surprised and go, didn't see those red flags. I think they kind of looked at those red flags and went, we can deal with that. A clone of Roy Keane, says Teresa. If only it was that easy. Tommy saying a love for United is key. A United fan. I've always thought it's important that they wanted to play for the club. It's not necessarily that they have to be a Manchester United fan, though. That's a Brucey bonus. But I don't think that's imperative. I don't think so anyway. But look, there's two more players I want to speak about from a transfer perspective before we finish this. If you can, just drop a like on the video. Maybe we drop a like on this. Not that we needed confirmation, any more confirmation, because we had confirmation a couple of months ago, but Martial's going. And it is mad to think. Anthony Martial is still a Manchester United player. This whole time, we've been paying this dude 200, 250 grand a week. Do you know how mad that is? 200 to 250 grand a week would put Martial easily in the top, 1% of Premier League earners? He would be the highest paid player at probably, let's say, 15 out of 20 Premier League clubs if he was to join them on the contract that he's got right now. And it's just, he's still a United player. He did give us some good times, Jason. I'm not going to sit here and celebrate his exit. Look, I will celebrate his exit because, Jesus, finally. This should have happened 2-3 years ago. It wasn't his fault he got given the contract. It was our fault for giving him the contract. Maggie is saying, still remember people calling the next Henry. Hey, man, his first season when he was a teenager, man. 15 goals, I think he scored under Louis van Gaal. Was so good. Was so good. But boy, am I looking forward to seeing him leave, to seeing him off the books. And in the same way, I would celebrate. Again, I wouldn't celebrate. They're not going to be delighted in their downfall, but these are just things that our club has to do. This one here is Donny van der Beek. Surprise, surprise. Hasn't had a good loan spell at Eintracht Frankfurt. Surprise, surprise. He's going to be coming back to Manchester United. And surprise, surprise, we're going to have to try and sell him in the summer. I think we're just going to, again, Donny, just go back to Ajax. And I don't mean that in a horrible way, like a lack of ambition way, but go back to an environment you know, you trust, and that you can thrive in. Well, I suppose it would depend on the manager that there is there. But I think Donny needs familiarity now, man. All the injury problems, everything that he's had at United and the loan spell at Everton and now a loan spell at Eintracht Frankfurt, it's like, geez, man, just go back to Ajax. That's what he should be doing. But Van der Beek leaving, Martial leaving, on top of a huge summer. My transfer video, I might even have to split it up into one for outs and one for ins because there's going to be so much activity. But the likes of, I think Varane will be leaving on a free. I don't think we'll give him a new contract. There could be Casemiro going too. I still personally think that PSG are going to come in with a big bid for Marcus Rashford. And if they do, then I think Man United might entertain it, depending on how much it is. Then what about Victor Lindelof? What about Eriksen? McTominay, Anthony, Greenwood. It's a long, long list. And we have got a chance to make some serious wedge this summer. And of course, that will come down to Barada Wilcox, and actually negotiating properly. McTominay, I said it in my video yesterday, I personally think the way that he's played this season, if he can say to him, say, look, I'm happy to stay at the club and be that squad player, then I think Scott McTominay should be staying. But there are so many conversations we're going to need to have this summer about transfers. Oh, look, I'm going to wrap that one up for today. Thank you all for tuning in. A little bit of a tangent conversation in the middle. I kind of like doing those little tangent conversations. Sometimes it's just nice to chat. Lunchtime video today, not quite sure yet. I'll see what I want to do after. Yesterday was around a look at the squads and, well, go and check it out. The video will be on the channel. Thank you all for tuning in. If you can, drop a like on the video. Thank you to everybody who sent in some super chats or some gifted memberships. Steve up there. But yeah, I'll be back here tomorrow as always. If there's any major news, you never know. You might get Jason Wilcox announced today. That'll be good. But make sure you tune in at 1 p.m. to the under-18s playing Wolves, because you might see him lift the Premier League title. Take it easy.